Chapter 1, The Visionary Roots, How Steve Jobs Became a Leader. Steve Jobs is often remembered for the sleek iPhone, the revolutionary Mac, or the iconic Think Different billboard. Yet the true secret behind those products was not just a technological breakthrough. It was a wisdom of leadership that turned a small garage into a global empire. Jobs' path began in a modest California kitchen where his parents, working tirelessly, taught him that creativity requires discipline and that genius thrives on curiosity. In a 2005 Stanford commencement speech, he said, "Your work is going to occupy a large part of your life, and the only way to be truly satisfied is to do what you believe is great work." This wasn't a casual remark, it was a mantra. Jobs believed that a leader's duty is to ignite passion, not merely to manage tasks. One vivid story illustrates his leadership creed. In 1987, the Macintosh division was faltering. Senior managers complained of infighting, and the company's future seemed bleak. Jobs was asked to return. He walked into a dim conference room, ignored the paperwork stacked around the table, and simply asked, "What is the story we want to tell?" He then asked every team member to draw their vision of a future phone. The room erupted in sketches, laughter, and an undeniable synergy that had evaporated months before. From that moment, the company shifted from survival mode to innovation mode. Motivational insight. A real leader is a storyteller. They create a narrative that everyone can see themselves in. Jobs' ability to ask the right question and paint a vivid picture re-engaged his team, turning uncertainty into opportunity. Concrete example. 1. Identify your core question. What story do you want to tell your team? 2. Invite team members to sketch or visualize it. 3. Celebrate the collective vision, even if it looks messy at first. 4. Align daily tasks with that broader narrative. Key takeaways. Leadership starts with a compelling story. Passion can be contagious when everyone sees a shared destiny. Ask simple, powerful questions to unlock hidden creativity. If you're enjoying this, like, share, and subscribe. Follow for more wisdom and leadership. Reflective question. What story are you inviting your team to live every single day? Chapter 2, 5 Pillars of Jobs Wisdom. Steve Jobs' leadership wisdom can be distilled into 5 core principles that are as timeless as they are actionable. These principles serve as a blueprint for anyone seeking to lead with impact. 1. Simplicity as strategy. Jobs insisted that simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. He believed that removing clutter accelerates decisions and empowers listeners. At Apple, he pushed engineers to release products that felt intuitive, stripping away unnecessary features until the user's journey was clear. 2. Design, thinking over technical jargon. Design is not just what it looks like, he would say, it's how it works. Jobs expected designers and engineers to collaborate as artistic partners. He famously said, "It's not about selling an experience, it's about creating one." This mindset turned Apple into a user-centric brand. 3. Passion for detail. The pixel on a screen is a testament to Jobs' insistence on refinement. He famously asked developers to watch the 90-second logo animation to the last frame and demanded that every tiny detail be perfect. For leadership, this translates into ensuring no stone is left unturned in the quality of your work. 4. The power of no. Jobs' famously blunt approach to rejecting projects sharpened Apple's focus. He argued that you can't chase every customer. Your customers must be your customers. Leaders learn to say no, not to dismiss, but to protect their team's resource pool for what truly matters. 5. Openness to failure. Despite being fired once, Jobs returned to rebuild an empire. He said, "Innovation can only happen when you are comfortable taking risks." A good leader embraces mistakes as data points for future improvement. Motivational insight. These 5 pillars did not appear overnight. They were forged through trial, error, and relentless curiosity. A great leader applies each pillar in context, not as a checklist, but as a living philosophy. Concrete examples. Simplicity. Map every customer interaction to remove friction points. Design. Involve cross-functional teams from the earliest concept phase. Detail. Create a final review protocol that checks every visual element. No, evaluate every new request against a strategic alignment score. If it falls below threshold, politely decline. Failure, after a campaign fails, hold a what went wrong meeting before announcing next steps. Key takeaways. A leader's influence is amplified by a clear, design-first mindset. Saying no is as critical as saying yes. Failure is not a pitfall, but a stepping stone. If you're enjoying this, like, share, and subscribe follow for more wisdom and leadership. Reflective question. Which of these 5 pillars feels most natural to you, and which requires the most conscious effort? Chapter 3, From Garage to Global, JOBS Applying Wisdom on the Move. The story of how Jobs turned a California garage into a household name is a master class in applying wisdom to real-world leadership challenges. When Apple was born, Jobs and Wozniak sold computers by hand to local businesses without a distribution network. They were guided by the principle of sell not to everyone, but to the right people. Jobs realized early on that a product must meet a specific need, otherwise, it becomes a background tech. A pivotal moment came during the creation of the iPhone in 2003. The prevailing technology was the BlackBerry, designed for corporate use. Jobs asked, what if phones were tools for everyday, not just work? His team struggled. The concept was futuristic, the market untested, and the funding was limited. Jobs persisted, fueled by the dream that a phone could be a portal to the internet. When the first iPhone was presented at Macworld in 2007, the audience was skeptical, but Steve's voice left no doubt. We're going to change the world. The device was a radical departure from anything before it, yet Jobs' leadership remained rooted in the very principles discussed: simplicity, design, passion for detail, focus, and resilience against failure. Each design decision, no physical keyboard, the gesture-based interface, bore each principle. Motivational insight. Jobs' courage to pursue an almost unheard-of idea showed that leadership is about creating a future where the impossible becomes routine. Concrete example. 1. Identify a common pain point that everyone experiences. 2. Draft a simple prototype focusing only on addressing that pain. 3. Iterate based on user feedback while keeping the core solution untouched. 4. Communicate the vision passionately to your team and stakeholders. Key takeaways. The most impactful ideas begin as simple, tangible solutions to real problems. A leader's vision must articulate a future that feels inevitable. Perseverance turns skepticism into applause. If you're enjoying this, like, share, and subscribe follow for more wisdom and leadership. Reflective question. What single pain point in your world can you turn into a product or initiative that simplifies lives? Chapter 4, Your Own Leadership Lab, Translating Jobs Lessons. Now that we have unpacked Jobs' wisdom, how can we weave these teachings into the fabric of our daily work? Below are 5 practical exercises that place Jobs' leadership principles into action. 1. Story-driven decision canvas. Begin each week with a storyboard that defines the narrative you want to pursue. Let every decision be measured against the story's emotional impact. If a task feels like a non-contributor, question its inclusion. 2. Design sprint with a twist. Every design sprint should start with the user, not the technology. Invite a non-technical stakeholder or an external observer to provide a fresh perspective on the interface, ensuring that the product remains user-centric. 3. Detail audits. Schedule weekly detail audits. A 30-minute, stand up where the team inspects a single feature, e.g., navigation menu, color palette. Encourage anyone to point out imperfections, fostering a culture of continuous refinement. 4. The Say No ritual. Implement a structured ritual for saying no. Write every incoming opportunity on a board, rank them by strategic alignment, and then let the least aligned idea leave the room. Celebrate the act of saying no as an act of protection, not rejection. 5. Failure journals. After each project cycle, host a failure-first meeting. Instead of blaming, write down what failed, why, and how it informs the next iteration. This turns every setback into a learning opportunity. Motivational insight. By embedding these rituals into everyday practice, the wisdom of Jobs becomes second nature. no longer just a lecture but a lifestyle. Key takeaways. A clear narrative guides team focus. User experience trumps feature creep. Continuous refinement magnifies quality. Saying no preserves vision. Failure is a teacher, not a verdict. If you're enjoying this, like, share, and subscribe follow for more wisdom and leadership. Reflective question. Which of these 5 exercises resonates most with your current role? And how will you start practicing it tomorrow? Chapter 5, Legacy of Insight, What You'll Carry Forward. Steve Jobs' life reminds us that wisdom is neither static nor idle. It flourishes when it is practiced, questioned, and reinvented. As you step forward, remember that leadership is a journey of learning, one that begins with a single decision to act differently. From his garage to the launch of the iPhone, Jobs taught us that brilliance arises when a leader narrates a compelling future, simplifies without oversimplifying, marries design with function, shows unwavering precision, says no when it preserves purpose, bounces back from failure with insight. Each of these elements can be measured, practiced, and refined. In an age of rapid change, the greatest leaders will be those who, like Jobs, are willing to question the status quo, obsess over detail, and commit to a vision that transcends the ordinary. Motivational insight. If you internalize Jobs' wisdom, you transform how you perceive problems, opportunities, and the act of leading itself. You will not merely manage, you will inspire, innovate, and ultimately change the world. Concrete action plan. 1. Draft your leadership manifesto. Capture your narrative, values, and criteria for success. 2. Adopt one of the 5 exercises above and commit to it for 30 days. 3. Set quarterly review checkpoints to assess progress against your manifesto. 4. Mentor someone else in this practice, spreading the wisdom. Key takeaways. Leadership is a living document. Success stems from focus, intentionality, and learning. The best leaders are educators, listeners, and relentless pursuers of excellence. If you're enjoying this, like, share, and subscribe follow for more wisdom and leadership. Reflective question. What is the one personal leadership habit you will cultivate as your own version of the Jobs mantra?